All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for these two Google searches, one local and one city level. If either or both of them have BSS. All right, so we're out here in the GBC universe again, where we bring declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video on the profile, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here, in white, high on the left, low on the right. And if a boudoir photographer is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, from high intent to low or no intent. At least bringing them in awareness, even if they're low or no intent, awareness that we exist. And if we have a boudoir photographer business that's falling, they're probably missing chunks somewhere here on the intent spectrum. So here we talk about BSS. We're way over on the left side. Highest intent peeps. This is social search and Google search. I'm gonna search on social networks for boudoir photo shoot in my city. See on Google search, the highest intent keyword searches. And over on the right, that's our other sister brand, different profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we're talking about BLCS. Talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there, niche pain. And right now we currently only deal with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. And that side on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps, interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They have no intent for boudoir right now. Next, moving on, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's what it is. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we've got 0 slots, we're basically dead, because we have, we've already talked about approximately 80% of Google searches never reach page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80% of searches, aka the bulk of the market, is page 1 only. So if we're on page 2, we're basically dead. Page 1, if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's still not enough. There's there's 10 organic slots. There's if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone else got 1 slot, then a buyer's just clicking down all of page 1, basically never gonna go to page 2. Open up everyone's website, gonna compare, contrast, price shop all these boudoir photographers. And as a result, we're still basically invisible because we're being price shopped so much. So we know that 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, but it's not normal. Dude, it's not normal to have those few slots on page 1, when Google actually wants to give us way more to those that want to take them. So 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone understands, but also newly, the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody understands yet. So market saturation, that seems like every week someone get a new iPhone, we see them throwing out their Google My Business profile, their website. Now they say they do boudoir, they're a boudoir photographer. Or they get a new camera, they're posting in the mom groups. They also do boudoir photo shoots now. So that's market saturation. Also, COVID, tons of new peeps came into the marketplace because nobody could work. People lost their jobs. But again, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so bringing in a ton more peeps to become boudoir photographers. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is a big one. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer boudoir photography businesses. This is where everyone, well, if everyone believes it, kind of automatically, implicitly, this is where, they're kind of like, everyone gets either 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And so, I had, slot number 8 on Google. The boudoir photographer ranked above me. I got kicked down to slot 10. And, it is what it is because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on Google. And there's basically nothing I can do about it. But this is 100% incorrect. Google actually will give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who actually want the page 1 slots. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search in 10 days. So I know Google gives these slots out to the people that want to take them. And as a result, if people believe this page 1 equality is true, then they never kind of break out of the box and look for solutions. And, well, there were no real good solutions before, but now we got one, which you'll see that in two pictures from here. So we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, with boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So our micro-universe take in shape, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And how do we know that? Because we invented it. And so it works exactly as it says. S cubed methodology, social search saturation. We saturate social search with our highest intent, highest demand keywords for highest intent buyers, what they would be searching on Google. To saturate social search, so we show up for all those. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains, all the small streams and rivers, then flow into the large Amazon River. These then eventually all flow into Google, page one Google search. But the initial upstream is ranking high, page one social search across all the four major social networks. Now, SQ methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully, for boudoir photographers, it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Literally the only thing. And as a result, we, basically as a result, that's the only thing that gets us results relatively quickly. Because the only other thing I've seen actually successfully outcompete is market saturation having a brand. But dude, that takes like 5 years minimum, more like 10 years. So because AI is coming, taking people's jobs, we ain't got 5 or 10 years anymore. We got to move ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. And S cubed methodology is that vehicle. So, imagine we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Omaha, Nebraska. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're boudoir photographers. So everyone's ranking there. And as a result, we are competing with all these boudoir photographers for page one. So we say, you know what? Screw this. The only chance we got of competing here is cranking S cubed methodology up to the max. And luckily, I was working with no one else in Omaha, so you could actually hire me. So we crank it up to the max, and let's say we are successfully, we're ranking the first 300 slots, page one of, search in all these social networks. Well, not even page one, dude. That's like a lot more pages than page one, but the first 300 slots, we're taking them up. And as a result, we are, there's a small rivers that flow into page one in Google. So we're taking the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page. So we're literally taking the first 30 pages, all the organic slots from them. And so anytime anyone in our city searches for the boudoir photographer with those high intent keywords, they are basically anywhere they look. They're basically only finding us. Now, for organic search, they could go to page 31 to essentially start finding our competitors. But dude, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 search only. So who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically nobody. So as a result, even though there are 999,999 other boudoir photographers and us competing against us, since we captured social search and Google search, the highest intent keywords are basically the only one that's being found. So whose business is the only one growing as a result? Our business. Out of all million boudoir photographers. So that's what we mean what I mean when I say this is the only thing I've discovered other than brand that can successfully compete against market saturation. Compete against and still grow the business. Now, once we treat BSS with S cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And boom, we get an instant bonus benefit, an initial benefit, which is for every new slot we acquire on page one, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this is awesome because, hey, we're getting more slots on page one. We get, more of, out of 10 attention because there's 10 slots, increasing our attention. But actually, we're decreasing the number of boudoir photographers who we're competing against because we're kicking a new one off every time we rank another, we get another slot on there. That's an initial benefit initially right off the bat using S cubed methodology. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. BSV. We have a GBC minimum here, recommended minimum of reaching 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google search, because basically everyone else will have one slot. So if Google's recommended us 3 times, well, buyers can be like, well, what the hell? Why is Google recommend this person? They must be good. They may even click to us, only us, and not even look at the other options on page one. But in addition, there's a tiny chance another boudoir photographer has 2 slots on page one. So if we got 3 slots, we're out competing everyone that has 0, 1, or 2 slots on page one of Google search. Now we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, with boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our full micro universe here, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Now, we use S-cubed methodology. We finally have a solution. Thank the universe. Page one visibility. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results. So myself, purely using S-cubed methodology, I'm going to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And come down to organic. Organic results, we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is also me. And I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1. And I got up to 9 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1, in only 10 days. So these are my own results utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, so now we're going to look at the main event here. Going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Boudoir, California, and its city search, Temecula, California. All right, let's check this out. All right, so first searching Boudoir. So here we go. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. All right, we got 6. 7. Sponsor, that doesn't count. That doesn't count for our 10, so awesome. 7 out of 10. This is what we got. This is what we need. How many competitors did they kick off? Up to 6. They ain't being price shopped against no one, or very, very few. They ain't being price shopped against 9. Because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches ain't never going to page 2. So, 7 out of 10, fantastic. Now we'll look at our city. Closest one there's some Lake Elsinore or something, but I chose Temecula to do the city search, bigger city. So let's see. Let's see how we're ranking here, pulling in people from Temecula. All right. All right, we got 0 in Temecula. So it looks like we're actually we're missing pulling people in from Temecula. So we do got BSS. So we don't have BSS for the local search. That's good. And we also hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 for local search. Perfect. But we definitely do have BSS for the city search. We're at 0 out of 10 slots there. And we definitely did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for the city search. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search, your local searches, city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you got 0-1 slots for any of them, at least one of them, or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for at least one of them, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So we can actually take as many slots on page 1 Google search as we want. Then, well, Andrew's saying S-cubed methodology is the only solution to give you those slots, and it's actually something you've been waiting for. And you're loving the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 Google search, kick in competing boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, relegate them to page 2 or page 3 or deeper, and never actually having to kind of deal with them as competitors anymore, making them disappear to approximately 80% of Google searches, so approximately 80% of the market. And you understand the market saturation, yeah, more peeps buy new gear eventually become boudoir photographers, yeah, they kind of trickle in over time. But you're looking ahead and you're seeing, okay, AI is taking peeps jobs right now, and AI is definitely going to get better and better, so it's going to take more and more peeps jobs over time. And you understand, last time that happened, lots of peeps lost their job. COVID, massive wave of boudoir photographers came into the marketplace. So you're like, uh-oh, massive market saturation is coming, and you're realizing you actually need to fortify your position on page 1, which means have so many links that of yours that Google wants to rank on page 1 that there's not enough space to rank them all. So you're actually link stuffing page 2, 3, 4 onward, and basically guaranteeing no current boudoir photographer can get onto page 1, and basically no future boudoir photographer that comes after AI takes their job can ever get onto page 1. And you're saying, well, how to get that many links? So you're saying, oh, SQ methodology, that's the only solution. I can give you that fortification. And you're also understanding that when we successfully execute SQ methodology every single day, we're actually creating we're actually creating like these invisible thematic keyword columns that are plugging into our brand, like kind of 360 degrees around our brand. And these are building up back-end keyword AI mindshare for the AI systems, AI searchers out there. And so every day we do this, successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability that we show up here in AI overview. The most premium placement, we cannot purchase this. And so that's a future benefit of SQ methodology. Another future benefit of SQ methodology is we are actually higher probability that we show up in AI search. So ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Google, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. And this is huge. Increasing its probability every single day is huge because more and more people using AI search every single day. Last time I did AI search for boudoir photographer in a city, I actually looked and it recommended me 3. So I went to look manually on Google and Facebook. Hey, how many boudoir photographers are actually in the city? Dude, there's like 60. So if AI is only recommended 3, we gotta get there. We gotta have so much back end AI keyword mindshare momentum that AI has to give recommend those positions to us. And you're also like the fact that my current plan is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city. So you're like, and yeah, you can get all these benefits, but also you can prevent your competitors from getting all these benefits, allowing you to build up a massive like AI mindshare gap, back-end AI keyword mindshare gap for the increased probability of recommended through AI overview and recommended through AI search. And you can actually deny your competitors getting that. So basically, you're able to build up a massive gap between you and your competitors, and basically make it so big that current competing boudoir photographers can never achieve it or reach it, and future boudoir photographers can never that come in after AI takes their jobs can never catch you. So you decide you're a first mover on this. You can't miss out, and you actually want you're thinking conversely, if some other peeps, if one of your competitors were to get on the sign up with me first, you would actually lose out on all the benefits. Your competitor would begin all these links page 1, have so many links page 1 that actually be overflowing to the future page 2, 3, 4. You would be relegated to page 2 or deeper, and we would obviously have the goal of making you have no chance to ever get to page 1. And then we'd be building a massive keyword, backend AI keyword kind of momentum, mindshare to get recommended AI overview, Google search, and with all the AI search apps. And for you to compete, you'd actually have to go rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, and you never have any idea if you've derived it. Well, you'd have to drive it for the first time for yourself. You'd never know if you successfully 100% derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap that we've already massively built ahead of you. And then once that happens, you would actually have to 2 to 3x our execution every single day to start closing that gap and pulling that back-end AI mindshare away from me and your competitor's brand back towards you. But since you're not even 100% confident you've derived it correctly in the first place, it's hard to put in that much effort, something you're not confident in. And when you actually think about it, you're like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? So you decide, screw that. You're actually going to be the first mover in your city, get all these benefits. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when we do open our DMs for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify.